We have something suspicious going on now. Something suspicious. Did I just uncover something? You tell me what you think about this. So I'm doing my research. I come across this article. This individual from the BIS. Now, anytime I hear someone stepping down early, they're leaving early, I have to ask why. Why are you leaving early? What happened? Not only that, you're leaving early from the bank of banks, a big time position, to take a government position? Really? A government position? I don't know, folks. Something doesn't sit well with me when it comes to that one right there. But wait a minute. Don't worry, it's going to get deep. All right. And you tell me if I'm on something or not. But I feel like there's too many connections here to ignore. Keep in mind the time period we're in where DLT is being unleashed everywhere. So we got it. We have it being unleashed in United States, a few other places. You know, Europe is a little bit right now. It's a little right now. Latin America is different. Latin America, you know, for a long time has been ready to just completely unleash crypto in a lot of places, not everywhere, but in a lot of places. Keep that in mind as well. Okay, keep that in mind. Now listen to this. Also click that like button. The former Swedish central bank, leading bank for international settlements, work on digital currencies, Cecilia Skingsley. Now listen to that again. This is a former Swedish central banker. Swedish. Wait a minute. Does Ripple have any ties in Sweden? Wait a minute. Let's keep going. Leading the Bank for International Settlements work on digital currencies. Now, this person was in charge of their innovation hub, their digital innovation hub. Has Ripple worked with the digital innovation hub before? Let's take a look at that. I'm going to give you facts here. Yes, they have. Yes, they have. And if you do a Google search, it'll pop. This article should probably pop up, I believe. Ripple and BIS. Well, we know the BIS has worked with Ripple many times, but we're talking specifically this innovation hub that they've had over the last 2-3 years, popping up in different specific places to make sure that they're integrating in a certain way. At least that's my understanding. But this article from NASDAQ.com says Ripple and BIS collaborate to investigate CBDCs, but it says BIS, but it's about the innovation hub aspect. Ripple and the BIS innovation hub. That's what it says. You look at the actual paragraph. Will join forces on a project to actively assess the interoperability. Interoperability. That's another thing. People keep forgetting about that aspect where XRP, the XRPL can tie everything together. It's respected. It's fast, way faster than stable coins, way better than stable coins. And it's a moneymaker and it ties everything together. Bridge currency. They need it. They don't have it. They can't have it. Too much fragmentation, too much fighting between countries. It's just the way that it is. We have to acknowledge the truth at some point. You can do that with the XRPL, period. That's big money, consistent money. But wait, let me go back to the article now so we established that they do have some relationship. That was the point of that, all right? Let's go back to the article now. Watch this. There's more. Wait, just watch. Because it's who is replacing her that gets interesting. Connections don't leave, folks. They don't. Over a lifetime, you make all of these connections. People, you may have made a connection 15 years ago in some business. You see the person 15 years later, somebody from that industry. Hey, what's going on? Hey, what's going on? That same good energy is there. Connections don't leave easily. So that is something to keep in mind. But wait, let's keep going. I'm building towards something. Let me build. Click that like button. Now, it says Skingsley began a 5-year term as head of the BIS Innovation Hub in September 2022, but the ex-Riksbank deputy governor will leave to take up a role next month as Listen to this. This doesn't make any sense. The person's leaving to take up a role as county governor. County governor. No disrespect. No disrespect. But come on, now you're going from up here to, I'm talking position-wise. No disrespect. County governor of the County Administrative Board of Stockholm. Something that, no, it sounds... Folks, you don't leave. Let's say you had a high position at a company. You don't leave being a president of a company and then you go work as a barista at Starbucks. It doesn't work that way. Something's wrong with that picture. But that's not even the important part. We're getting to it. We're getting to it. So then, here we go. The BIS Innovation Unit was set up in 2019 to identify and develop new technologies and rapidly expanded to 7 financial centers from London to Hong Kong. Yeah, which we know. Which, once again, Ripple has worked with them. Reports earlier this year, however, said it was set to be paired back by new BIS General Manager Pablo Hernandez de Cos, who takes the helm in July. Isn't that interesting timing? Look at the timing. Let me be a little bit excited just this one time. Look at the timing. This could have happened at any time. It's happening right now while DLT is being unleashed in the United States, being unleashed all over the world. And they made it known. All those DLT companies, Bankcoin companies, are hungry to take Latin America, Central, South. They want the whole pie. They've been setting up Latin America for years. Ripple did work in Mexico. Do you think that those relationships have gone? They were satisfied with the product. Algorand is all over Latin America via a company called, they're there directly, and they are also there via Koi Banks. Koi Banks. Which Koi Banks also now has some reach in Africa. Hedera is down in Latin America. Stellar has done work down in Latin America. These Bankcoin companies have been setting up Latin America for a long time because everybody knows Latin America has so much untapped resources. It's ridiculous. Now, wait. That's just something I'm keeping at the forefront of my mind. Right now, we're brainstorming. We're putting things together. Reports earlier this year said that, Pablo Hernandez de Cos, new BIS general manager, said to take the helm in July. Central bank digital currencies in particular have become a geopolitical hot topic. And late last year, the BIS suddenly quit a flagship project it had been collaborating on with China. They don't need it anymore. Here's the reason for that. I say that. Think about it for one moment. You had all of this different experimentation they did with CBDCs within China. All right. Then companies like Ripple, I'm going to use Ripple as an example, came up with their CBDC platform, both for wholesale and retail. It connects everything together. So they did all the heavy lifting and presented a project and basically said, listen, once you present a project like that ties everything together, everyone else's work, they don't have to complete that anymore because they just need something to link it all. That's it. They wanted someone to do the heavy lifting. BIS let that be known a long time ago. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to do all of the heavy lifting, but I'm talking about specifically in projects like that. Then at that same time, when they came out with that, that's when you had Brad Garlinghouse went on stage. He was one amongst like 4, but he was on stage with one of the leaders of the financial systems in China, Hong Kong. And that's when they asked that individual about the volatility of cryptocurrencies. And that is when that individual said on camera, it's the video still on YouTube, they didn't care about volatility. That's what he said. And that was earth shaking, period. Because so many people worry about that. They think that the big companies are worried about a little bit of volatility, a little bit of slippage. They think they're worried about that. They're not. So Mr. Hernandez de Cos worked for the Bank of Spain. Now, if you remember, Ripple has a great relationship in Spain. They've been working there for some time now. They had a bunch of different banks that they were working with. Now, let me read this a little bit to you. It says, these are some of the connections that Ripple has. I printed a little paper out. If I didn't say that before, I had to chop the video. Direct collaboration. Several major Spanish banks have directly collaborated with Ripple. So an individual like this who was working in the Bank of Spain, definitely familiar with Ripple. Santander, we all know about that, all right? BBVA. So anyway, for those who may not know, let me clarify, because there's a lot of people who may be either new to the channel or new to crypto that may see the video. Santander has been a prominent partner using Ripple's technology for its OnePay FX cross-border payment system. They also, I'm not sure if that's the one. They also, were they the company that Ripple initially did a stable coin for? I'm not sure if this is the system, but I remember them doing something like that. I believe it was Santander. But then you also have BBVA. BBVA has also utilized Ripple's technology for international money transfers, notably completing a transfer between Spain and Mexico with Ripple's help as early as 2017. So they've been there for a long time. I mean, if you're good at what you do, you've established a lot of business connections by now. So now we have that. So is it possible that what's happening? All right, I want to draw this conclusion. What's happening is they're moving globally in all of these major systems. Now we're seeing it in the BIS. I mean, we also saw a little bit of activity in the BIS at the beginning of this year that made a lot of people scratch their head and say, what's going on right there? Who's pulling their collar and making them do certain things? So there was that, right? But now we're starting to see these different individuals get shifted around, like this one here. Are they moving everything around in preparation for a big move for crypto? And it goes way beyond stable coins. Listen, if you're looking at the articles that they've been putting out lately, like the really informative ones, not just the sensationalist pieces, there's a few of them that are highlighting the strengths of like the regular cryptos, where their speed, like for example, XRP versus RLUSD. XRP will dominate every single time. Does RLUSD have, one thing they highlighted was stability. They said RLUSD has stability. Okay, but let's be real. If you look at stable coins in their history, stable coins at times, they're stable until they're not. They're stable until they get depegged. Which ones have been depegged? USDC has been depegged. Tether has been depegged. All those other ones that don't have the same notoriety as Tether and USDC have been depegged majorly. Stable coins suffer. They don't solve the major problems of fiat currency. They don't. Stable coins suffer the same liquidity problems as fiat currency. They're susceptible to bank runs just like fiat currency. So why would you choose an inferior product to deal with everything if you know you have a fragile system, if you know that this can occur? Think about it for a second. They're trying to pull the wool over people's eyes. Meanwhile, they're loading up on the crypto. They've been loading up. This is what the experts say, right? Companies that are following the purchases of cryptocurrencies. We've been reading these for some time now. So what we've read from those experts, they've been loading up, some massive entities been loading up on XRP. But you can't tell because they're doing it at certain times. There's massive selling. They're loading up. But they've been reporting up. They've been loading up on XRP. They've been loading up on Solana. They've been loading up on Bitcoin. Isn't that interesting? The same ones that were in the so-called digital asset stockpile list are the ones they're loading up on. They know something. They're moving. It looks like they're moving people around in anticipation of the explosion. Once it happens, they want to be the only ones who make all that capital. People think that XRP price is only going to go a little bit further. That's ridiculous. Considering what it can do, it hasn't done even a small piece of what it could do. In my humble opinion, not financial advice. It hasn't even done a small piece of what it can do yet. Not at all. The party hasn't kicked off yet. We just got a few glimpses. But I think that they're preparing for that. So now what does this do? them moving someone into position that may have reach in relationships in a lot of key places, like, once again, like Spain, like also appeal to Latin America and have those kind of connections. There's a lot of crossover between Spain and Latin America now, if people don't know, right? There's a lot of crossover over the years been built there, whereas in the past, and trust me, I know. In the past, it may not have been that way. It definitely is there now, for sure. People going to live over there, and then, you know, from Latin America, and then people from Spain going to live in Latin America. You know, so there's a lot of crossover there. But anyway, there's something else I wanted to say. There's that angle. Then you have the angle over here with that need for interoperability between these systems that they're trying to set up, the weakness of stable coins that they're trying to set up. It looks like a smokescreen to me. There's no way. So yeah, so they were comparing. My apologies. I'm circling back around. See, I'm getting back to it. They highlighted stability, but stable coins really don't have that. They don't have that. Although with Ripple, and this is what I was saying, why it would be smarter for Circle to sell to Ripple, because USDC will be protected by Ripple because of XRP. You know what that means? It ensures that XRP must stay at a reasonable price, probably should go higher if they want their stable coins to be successful. They have to have XRP at a higher price. You say, no, they don't have to do anything. To each his own. Sure, you can make that argument. I'm not here to argue. The reason I say that is because if they don't want USDC has been depegged already. They had to freeze it on Coinbase. You didn't live through that? Because I did. Then I looked, I said, what the? Oh, you want to free? That's how you deal with a depeg? That's how you deal with bank runs? Really? And the trust was gone forever. You don't think that could happen again right now? What did they change? What did they change that makes you think that it couldn't happen again? All these banks are just waving in the wind. You got banks across the United States waving in the wind. Everybody's talking about the bank's weakness now. Everybody. Europe has banks waving in the wind. Now they're all talking about it because you can't avoid it anymore. China, we know what's going on with that. You think that there can't be bank runs? Yes, there can. So how do you stave off that huge weakness? XRP. Ripple knows. Ripple knows. So XRP either has to stay at where it's at or it has to go higher. I would say they want it to go much higher. And that's probably one of the reasons why whoever that was from Ripple came out a few weeks ago and they said that they wanted to maximize. Well, it was some phrase I'm paraphrasing. But in some way, they said they wanted to maximize like the value of XRP or the utility. It was something. But you can't have the utility being maximized without the price going up. Then if the price goes up, the utility becomes a little bit more tempting and tasting for the people and the companies. So they're tied together. There's so much to unpack here. I'm going to wait patiently as if I have a choice. I don't have a choice, right? I don't control what these people do. To hear more about what's going on, to hear more about the ideas going forward. It's a setup to me. They're getting ready to unleash globally. They're getting the pieces in place. You saw it happen with the SEC. Is it a coincidence? Now what's happening with the BIS? Why are they all shifting people at the same time? Why? There must be a cause for every effect. Well, now I had so much fun with that article right there. I'm not sure how long this video is now because somebody called me right in the middle of the video. I had to pause it. I usually don't like to do that. I don't have a lot of time on my hands. So I like to shoot the video one straight shot all the way through. And now I'm going to have to chop it. So I don't know how long this video is now. But let's see. Can we squeeze in a little bit of Bitcoin news? I had some gold news also. I'll put that stuff in the members only section, okay? I have some other stuff here I should have covered. There's some other Bankcoin stuff going on. I'll put that in the members only section. So make sure you check those posts. Let's go here. Let me see. Something going on with Kentucky. Let's find out. We have to stay abreast of what's going on these days when it comes to the bit of the coin. This article is titled, Kentucky's Bitcoin Boom Has Gone Bust. In the U.S. state's my word, what am I reading? In the U.S. state's coal country. Sorry about that. I've been dealing with a lot of stuff, a lot of research that has to do with like animal life in the natural world for a very specific reason. So that's why that was on my mind. I've been dealing with mostly ocean information. So that's the best I'll tell you, with keeping things, letting you know, but at the same time keeping things private. But anyway, in the U.S. state's coal country, crypto mining was supposed to bring renewal. Now mines are powering down, and investors are hoping AI powered data centers will fill the void. What? Folks, listen, I love AI. I do a lot of research. I do a lot of learning in AI all the time so I can stay on top of what's going on with that industry. And in my opinion, I would not right now, I wouldn't trust too many important things to AI. In the future, yes. Right now, I'm not so sure about that. And somebody could disagree with me. I mean, I don't claim to be the most in the know about AI, but just what I've seen with different errors and stuff like that, and how what happened in certain industries last year with certain systems, I wouldn't trust that. Not right now. They're jumping a little too fast, in my humble opinion. But let's read this little tidbit here. It says, if you drive outside the city of Campton, population less than 400, the low industrial noise of crypto mining rises from the trees. Step closer and the sources comes into view. Squat metal buildings that look like shipping containers arrayed in a semicircle, thrumming with fans and processors. Really? That's how they do it? There's chain link fencing, security cameras, and 2 guards sitting in pickup trucks just beyond the wire. There are still shipping containers like this all over the hills, right where the old coal mines once stood. And inside, specialized computers race to solve complex math problems. All right, for a brief moment. In 2021, it felt like the region had found its next boom, and it had Bitcoin written all over it. At its peak, Kentucky accounted for some 20% of the collective computing power dedicated to proof-of-work cryptocurrency mining in the U.S. All right, so I guess that's changing now. What can you do? I'm going to leave that one at that one there. Let's see. I want to get to I need the interesting stuff right now. I need like the really adrenaline pumping just for me. That's how I feel. Like some days I need that. This article, see, I like this kind of talk. This article, this article is titled Arthur Hayes discusses $250,000 Bitcoin target. $1 million ahead. This is the first time in a long time that I've seen this individual talk about a price lower than $1 million. I respect it. It says Bitcoin is primed to skyrocket as Arthur Hayes forecasts $250,000 by year end. By year end? Once again, I believe it depends on the catalyst. And $1 million by 2028, igniting massive momentum across the entire crypto market. Arthur Hayes, BitMEX co-founder and chief investment officer of Maelstrom, laid out one of the most ambitious Bitcoin forecasts in the industry during an interview with Fortune contributor Anna Tutova at Token 2049 in Dubai. Despite past regulatory battles and legal consequences, Hayes has... Why do you have to put that on that man like that? Why bring that up? You ever? Sometimes I read articles and they throw information at me. I feel like I didn't need to know that. I didn't need to know that. It says Hayes has reemerged, and it's usually like something negative, like they're trying to tear a person down before they present you their idea. Like, this is what he's gonna say, but this is. But they never highlight anything that's really, really good. It's like there's not a balance. It's always like the negative. It's not like the negative and the positive. No, they don't do it like that. Regulatory battles and legal consequences. It says, I don't like that type of thing. I don't like that. Hayes has reemerged as one of the digital asset sector's most vocal and influential bulls. The reason I say that is because, okay, this individual, a lot of times, he's going to bring up history. He's going to bring up charts. These are things you can look at yourself. Like, it's not about who he is. It's not about who the messenger is. Did you get the message? Right? If someone comes to you, you don't know who they are, and they say, hey, your house is aflame. You don't know about it. You're in the other part of the house. Maybe it's happening in another side of the house. You're not privy to that, right? Does it matter who the person is right now in that moment? Or does it matter that you could factually go outside and look at the house and see that it's a flame? That's how I look at it. It's not always about the messenger. Most of the time it's about the message. Let me have the message and the messenger is going to go about their way. That's why I feel that way. So anyway, in his characteristically direct style, which I like, Hayes offered a series of bold price targets for Bitcoin. Well, he's not the only one. Why not reference that? You got him saying certain things like that. You got Kathy Wood saying predictions like that. You got Samson Mao saying predictions like that. You have a lot of individuals believe Bitcoin is going to a higher place. And at this point, 250K is not far-fetched. It's not. If you look at how fast everything happened. Look how quickly all the industry just turned around last year. I remember seeing so many different comments of people saying Bitcoin is dead. Just last year. And then all of a sudden around, maybe it was like November or something like that, once the crypto started turning around a little bit. No, it started turning around a lot. Everything started taking off. It just shifted so quickly. It shows you how quickly everything can happen. So with where it is right now, Bitcoin having once again proven it can cross 100,000 with no problem, really, not too much problem, not too many catalysts, really just one or two major catalysts pushing it. Narratives and big time buying from institutions. And there's like 6 or 7 more major catalysts out there that haven't even been actuated yet. So what happens when those come in? At that point, if those actually come to fruition, 250K is not far-fetched. Now, $1 million, my arm is reaching out. That's a reach that's going to be, I think that still will be tough in my humble opinion. But 250K, no, it wouldn't be far-fetched. Is it guaranteed? No, nothing is guaranteed. But is it feasible? I think so. That's not my price though, but I think that that's possible. I don't know about the end of this year, but some point in the future, it's probably possible, yeah. All right, so now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, everybody, let's get to the money.